שנאמר, הליכות עולם לא עתיקי הליכות, אלא הלכות.
Chazak u'baruch, Boker Tov. Welcome to the next minyan. I want to tell you a couple of interesting things. We just had a discussion a little bit when we were reading the Torah. So, one Siddur has like the reading a little bit longer, and the other Siddur has a little bit shorter. So, what do you do in a case like that? The truth is, I told Rabbi Yossi that it's better to do this one because it's the Siddur of Maran. And the Siddur of Maran, even though there are haskamot of other Siddurim of Maran on the Siddur, but this one is the one that he used personally, and this is the one that he was in the shul. So therefore, this is the most accurate one. This was done very, very carefully to have everything correct according to Masoret, according to tradition. So this is a little bit more accurate than the other ones, perhaps, right? Whatever. But also, there's another thing, which is that sometimes when you have two different Siddurim, one says to do it longer, one says to do shorter. The truth is, according to halacha, you have to do, each reader has to do 3 psukim at least. So therefore, if you do 3 psukim, you're good. No matter what. You don't have to do the long way. You can do the short way also. Short and sweet, Baruch Hashem. No problem. But if you did less than 3 psukim, you have to go back and read the Torah again. That reader somebody has to read again the Torah. Because that shlishi or whatever it was, right? That he read 2 psukim, we have to do another shlishi. Because he didn't fulfill his obligation with 2 psukim. That's the thing, right? You have to make sure that you understand that. Okay, number 1. Number 2, also, I want to tell you, right, that we do Monday and Thursday, we read Mano Bano Panecha Yoshev Marom after the Tachanun, right? Before the Tachanun, after the Vidui. So this Manomar, there's 2 different minhagim. One minhag is that we read this before the Tachanun, which they do in Eretz Israel. This is the minhag of Eretz Israel. And the other minhag is that they do this in Manomar before Vehu Rachum, which is the minhag of Chutz La'aretz, of the outside, of diaspora. So either way, it's good, Baruch Hashem, right? There are 2 different minhagim, but just make sure one thing, right, that you always read it, because you shouldn't skip it, right? You shouldn't think that you should skip this thing. Monday and Thursday, you got to say it, right? Unless you have Brit Milah or something, which putters you from the Tachanun altogether. Okay, one more thing I want to tell you about the laws of Shabbat. When a person has something on the plata, right, some food that he wants to eat on Shabbat, so let's say, he tasted it, right? It's fully cooked. He tasted it, but it's lacking some spices, it's lacking a little bit salt, lacking a little bit pepper, whatever, right? Cumin, right? Kalkom, whatever it is, right? All kinds of spices that we put. So the question is, are you allowed to put the spice in? So the truth is, that if it's on the plata, the dish, you shouldn't put the spice in there or the salt because you're cooking the spice. You understand? This is it's melechet bishul. Hashem Yirachem, right? He's transgressing the law of the Torah. He's cooking the spices on Shabbat. Because it's clearly shown, it's right on the fire, it's on the ash, it's on the plata. So therefore, what should you do? Well, how do you do it? Right? First, take the soup or whatever, the cholent, whatever, the chamin, whatever it is, right? Take it out from the plata and put it in a kli sheni, right? Exactly. Second, and then you can add spices over there. The Gemara says, Kai malan kli sheni enom bevashel, right? The second kli doesn't cook. So even though it's very, very hot, by the way, it could be very hot. It's still very hot. So what's the difference between Kli Rishon and Kli Sheni? They're both very hot. You just took it out now. So says Tosfot, the difference is like this, Even though Kli Sheni also could be very hot, but because it's not on the fire, the temperature is going down. The megama, right? The trend is to go down. So therefore, when it's going down, says Tosfot, it cannot cook. This is the thing, even though it's very, very hot. But this is the reason why Kli Sheni and Kli Rishon is different. Two different things altogether. Even though the temperature may be the same. That's not the issue, right? That's one thing. Also, I want you to know, right? When it comes to melach, when it comes to salt, it's even harder to cook, than other spices. So therefore, if you take the dish, right, the pot off the plata and put it on the counter, you could already put melach in there, even though it's not kli sheni. You know why? Because melach, salt is very hard to cook it. This is the thing. So that's why melach is a little bit different. Now I want to tell you also, but don't add the melach when it's on the plata. This you cannot do because it's going to cook the melach. That's asur. So that's why exactly, right? When we make tea also, if you're using tea bags, right? Let's say to make tea. So once you put the water in kli sheni, you take it out of the chainik, right? The mecham, you put it in the cup. So now you can put the tea bag in there, in kli sheni. Kli sheni eno mevashel. But the Ashkenazim are nohel to be machamir. They have a chumrah that they do. According to Rabbi Elazar Mimitz, what they do is they do kli shlishi, third kli. Why is that? Because they say that maybe tea is kaleh bishul. It's easy to cook it. So therefore, even Kli Sheni will cook it. The truth is, though, that's against the Gemara, what they're saying. Why is that? Because the Gemara says that you can put the spice in Kli Sheni. And also, tea is a spice. What is tea? It's a spice. What does that mean? It gives flavor to the water. That's what it is, right? So tea is a spice. Same thing. So therefore, there's no problem to put the tea in Kli Sheni. Some people are machmir to put Kli Shlishi. Baruch Adonai le'olam. Amen.